G'day scrappers, today we've got ourselves a ceiling fan. I promised from the last video, so we're going super high tech here. I get a lot of comments about ceiling fans, especially related to copper. You know, I've got a few videos, saying, we get our copper from microwave ovens and we get our copper from old TVs. Yeah, and a lot of people say, well, you get quite a lot of copper out of a ceiling fan. So I thought I'd do a ceiling fan since I've got one that I ripped off my ceiling. All I wanted to do really, because a lot of scrappers usually just throw these into motors and sell it at the scrapyard as an electrical motor. And so all I'm going to do is I want to weigh this up and see how much I could sell this as an electrical motor, and then how much I can actually how much copper I can get out of it, and whether it's actually worthwhile stripping it out for the copper or selling it just as a motor. So once we get the copper out, we can also sell the steel as scrap steel. So I'll weigh up those prices and see the difference, if there's much difference in price. But still, if you're looking for copper, then yeah, sure, these are a pretty good source of copper if you're not really looking at just the value of your time that you take to scrap one out and so on. If you just want actual scrap copper for things like making copper ingots and things like that, I'll just get rid of the actual blade. I've got a little bit of other construction work going on inside the house. Got plasterers here changing one of the ceilings. It was just about to cave in, so I had to get rid of the ceiling fan. And funnily enough, the plaster in the kitchen is it's made of horsehair. So that was pretty unusual. Okay. All right. So just as it is, just like that, this will sell as a motor. So we don't have to take anything else off, and we can get motor price for this. So I'll we'll just have a look. So I think we're getting 55 cents a kilo at the moment. So let's just go by that. Okay, so at 55 cents a kilo, it weighs 3.38 kilos. So all we're getting for this motor, if we were just to sell it at the scrapyard, is $1.86. Okay, so 3.3 kilos, for anyone else wondering, is about 7 pounds. So I'm getting $1.86 if I was just to throw this in with electrical motors and sell it like that. So now we'll strip it out, we'll get the copper, and see how much we can sell both the steel and the copper for, and see if there's actually any extra value. Okay. All right. As you can see, it's been a while since I've actually busted open a ceiling fan. Can't remember the last time I've done one actually. Okay, so we've got a little bit of brass here. All right. Okay, I'm just going to have to put this down on the ground and pop this out, I think. All right. There we go. Yeah, there's a little bit of aluminium sort of seams around the inside there, but it's all pretty much scrap steel. Okay. See if I can pop this out. Okay. I'll just take this into the workshop in the vise and I'll pop this thing out. Okay, so here we have it. So there we go. We've got our copper windings running around through there. Other side. And so I suppose all that's left is just to take it all out. So I think I'll cut from this side, and yeah, we'll get this copper out, we'll weigh it up and see what value, if we get any better value doing it this way. Okay, so all we need to do is just cut each of these little loops. There we have it. It's actually quite a small one. You know, you see some of those older style ceiling fans, and they can be almost like 8 inches across. And so this is obviously not a very expensive ceiling fan, it's just a cheaper version, so probably a bit more representative of what you'd normally find anyway. All right, so we've done the outside coils, so it's just the inside ones now. Same deal. So it's really not a overly time-consuming scrap out, this one. Unlike other copper motors and things like compressors out of fridges and stuff, it's a lot more heavier work, and yeah, it just takes a lot longer. I mean, this, if it turns out to be a little bit better value in the copper and the steel compared to just selling it as a motor, they're probably worth doing, because yeah, they just don't take much time at all, really. And so generally in curbside picking, I do find the odd ceiling fan, or usually just a motor itself. And so if it turns out good in future, I'll probably scrap them out like this, because it's just pretty easy, and it's just something different. It's different to what we're processing normally in scrap and e-waste. And yeah, as I said, compared to other motors, this is about as simple as you can get, and it's quite fun actually. So hopefully we get some good value out of it. So there we go, we've cut all the ends on this side. So now all we have to do is just pull them out from this side. Should get a better screwdriver. Probably a lot easier to do this in a vise or something, but just for the video's sake, I might have to get a couple out. So there we have it. It's a bit of an odd color. It looks kind of like, almost like brassy, but it's actually copper. You can see the nice orange copper in there. But yeah, well, it's a little bit. We'll just keep going. Yeah, it definitely needs a vise, just so you can get a bit of a grip on stuff, and 2 hands is kind of not enough. Yeah, I just don't have any leverage here. I'll go and do this on the vise. But no doubt, you've probably seen fan motors being scrapped out on YouTube anyway. Just want to get all the copper out and just weigh it up and just compare the value. So far, over halfway there. Okay. So we're done here. We've got a little bit of wire sticking out, but our little coil is done. So let's just gather this up and take it back out the onto the table, and let's weigh up what copper we did get. Remember, the motor was $1.86, just to sell as is. So let's do the scrap steel. Currently 15 cents a kilo. Did get a little bit of brass, but let's have a look. So we've still got over 3 kilos of scrap steel at 15 cents. That's 46 cents. And the copper, $5.80 a kilo. It's probably, yeah, it should be about that, $5.80. So there's exactly 300 grams. So that's 3/4 of a pound, $5.80 a kilo. So that's $1.74. So that gives us exactly. So originally we had the motor, $1.86, just to sell it as is. Scrapping it out, we got 46 cents for the steel and $1.74 for the copper. Total $2.20. So, you know, 34 cents better value. Now the copper price might be a touch out, but it's not going to make much difference in the cents. So really not a lot in value. So this is where, this is why most scrappers just throw it into motors. And it's the same case with a lot of motors and even transformers, apart from your microwave transformers if they're copper. But obviously if you're looking for scrap copper to melt down and turn into ingots, well, this is, it's good little copper. It's already sort of compressed. It's in small pieces, so it's easy to melt. Just keep throwing this into the crucible. But as far as value for time, to get an extra 34 cents, I suppose if you had 10 of them, well, then that's $3.40. So that might make a difference to some. But, even though it was pretty fun to do, and it was pretty quick. But, a lot of scrappers, their opinions are, well, if I'm going to spend time doing that, I'd rather go out and pick up more scrap and find better stuff. So yeah, whether it's worth scrapping out, well, that's for each individual to determine themselves. If you think that that's worth it for you, fine. Most people that would scrap these would be the ones that actually just want some free copper like this. So if you're just looking for copper to melt down, then yeah, it's great. 300 grams of copper out of that small transformer motor. But there are a lot bigger ones where you do get half a kilo, maybe even probably 1.5 pounds of copper out of them. So, but this one here, it was a smaller fan, a little bit cheaper one. Yeah, it was okay. I'm happy with the copper. No worries about that. I'd rather having this copper to turn into an ingot than getting $1.86. But and if I had nothing better to do, I'd probably still scrap it out just to get the copper. But otherwise, when I'm doing hard rubbish out in the street and stuff, and picking up all kinds of stuff, there's just things like this don't really want to waste too much time on, because, you know, I'd rather be out there and scrapping, picking up more stuff. So yeah, no, it was an interesting comparison anyway. Either way, you're not going to really lose. You know, you're not going to lose on selling as a motor. And, you know, sometimes the motor prices can go up a little bit too. So getting closer to $2 for that. But, you know, I personally, I wouldn't be doing this just to get the extra little bit of money. I'd only be scrapping them out just to get the extra copper to melt down into ingots. But that's my opinion anyway. All right, well, hope that was a little bit of interest, and it satisfied my curiosity anyway, so at least now I know that you know, I'm not getting much more value, even though I kind of already knew that. But it is a good and easy source of copper if that's what you're looking for. All right, guys, well, keep scrapping, have fun, and I'll catch you next time.